Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raw Law Unfiltered with the DUI Guy Plus. That is me, your host. I know that I have been kind of on a hiatus recently on YouTube. I have been traveling and I had some trials going on, as you all have seen. I had posted a couple of them that I had. And so today, I'm going to do something that I actually simply unearthed. I completely forgot that I made this. 10 years ago, I created a presentation because I saw a few elements in my life. I saw a few things in my life that kind of geared me towards this sort of mindset, and I was very confused as to why more people don't adopt this sort of mentality. Like, why are people not? I thought I found the secret. The secret to life, uh, the the fountain of youth, if you will. And so I decided, you know what? Why don't I just create a presentation on it? And I was in law school then. I was a second year student in 2012. And I invited the entire law school. And I'll be completely honest, nobody showed up. Not one person. Not one of my classmates was like, you know what, I'm interested in this. And I was kind of disappointed. I thought maybe, but then I realized, who the fuck am I? And I actually added a slide to the presentation after that happened, and I told some of my friends about it, and I made this presentation to three people individually. So it wasn't like three people in the audience. It was, I gave this presentation 3 times to one person each time, and they were the only people. They were all my friends, Dave, Luis, and who was the other one? Oh my goodness, I can't remember who. It's been a decade in my defense. But my buddy Dave, my buddy Luis, and I think my buddy Josh. Josh was the third one. I can't remember. But so this was basically, let me give you the groundwork, okay? I am 23, 24 years old. And I have had a very fixed mindset my entire life, okay? I thought that like things are the way they are because this is how they are, and that's the end of it. And you can't change that, right? I didn't realize that the mind was so malleable and powerful, and neuroplasticity wasn't even a concept. Neuroplasticity meaning the mind is something that can be molded, it can be modified. It's like a disc. You can erase things, you can upload things, and so on and so forth. So I decided to try and teach people this concept, right? And this is the presentation I made. I made this in 2012. Like I said, I gave this presentation to 3 people. How to get anything you want out of life. This was the official title of the presentation. By the way, here's the flyer. Let me show you guys the flyer here real quick. This is the flyer I made. Is it not going to let me share? Here we go. Here we go. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is the flyer I made. This is what I hung in the law school at the Louis D. Brandeis School of Law. How to get anything you want out of life. What do you want in life? Money, fame, love, marriage, success, a job. What would you do if I told you that all of this can be yours? And this is the key of the whole presentation. Perception is reality. Whatever you perceive in your mind, you will have in your hand. That is real to you. Maybe not immediately. If I like in the movie The Secret, if you envision a elephant in the middle of your room and all of a sudden an elephant appears, I mean, it'll be kind of disastrous. You're going to have to clean up poop everywhere, and good luck getting that thing out of your living room, right? Well, that's not how it really works. It's not magic, although it is, but it's not magic in the strictest sense of the material sense. It's a metaphysical reality, okay? And we'll get to that in a moment. We can be our own worst enemies because most of us choose to cage ourselves in our own realities. But your mind has unlimited potential. You can harness its power and utilize to get anything that you want. Come listen to Larry Foreman. You know, who the fuck is this guy? Again, at the time, my ego was already through the stratosphere. I didn't understand. But come listen to Larry Foreman speak on our own personal mental boxes and learn how to escape them in the vicious loop of negative emotion, which is very important. We'll get to later on. You will learn how to set goals and achieve them, anything the mind can conceive. Remember that no goal is too extreme and no objective is out of reach. See you there, my friends, sponsored by Hillel, which is the Jewish organization on campus. The meeting will be held on Thursday, September 20th at noon in room 175, which was the upstairs, or no, the downstairs room. I reserved it. I asked the dean of students to help me out and bring your own lunch. And like I said, nobody fucking showed. I had 0 attendees, 0 out of like 450 students that potentially could have shown up, at least at the law school. 0 showed up. So right now we're already beating it. We're here like 74 people, and that's already like beating it. Thank you, Felice Villani. I really Vayani. Sorry. Much respect. I really appreciate that. Anyway, so that was that. That was the flyer. So let's get into the presentation, shall we? Without further ado, I want to show you guys. I want to give this presentation to the world. I want this thing finally memorialized for you all, for my children, for your children. Because what I came upon, because back then I was a nobody with no money, no reputation, no business, and here I am 10 years later. Maybe now people will listen. Maybe there's like a 2% to 5% chance people will actually be like, you know what? Maybe this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about, or maybe not, or I don't know. It's up to you all. So take this with a grain of salt. Take this with whatever you want. This is the presentation that I gave in 2012. In October, November, and December. I think I was doing, not intentionally, it just was like one a month, to my friends Dave, my friend Luis, and my friend Josh. Shout out to you three who actually supported me through this. That it really meant a lot. So, How to Get Anything You Want Out of Life by Larry Foreman, Louis D. Brandeis School of Law, because I still reserved the room a few times and made this presentation. This is a guide to setting goals in the 21st century. Now, the Buddha said, our life is shaped by our mind. See, when I was learning all this stuff back in my early 20s, I realized this is not a new concept. This is a concept that has existed for millennia, going all the way back to Abraham and the Buddha. We're talking, 3, 4, 5, 5,500 years ago. We become what we think, right? Now, I added this slide after nobody showed up to my presentation. I don't think this slide is really relevant anymore, but who is this guy and why does he think he knows better or more than me? And this is where I kind of launch into the background, what I've done, my research, what I've learned, why I'm here, blah, 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 blah. Friedrich Hayek, The Constitution of Liberty, 1960, wrote, if old truths are to retain their hold on men's minds, they must be restated in the language and concepts of successive generations. And the problem is there's a lot of literature out there I've learned back in the day when I was doing all this stuff. There's a lot of literature that kind of talks about, goal setting and what our mind's limitations or lack thereof are. And nobody really talks about it in simple terms. Like, give it to me straight, doc. Am I going to live or am I going to die? Just stop beating around the bush. Just fucking tell me in layman's terms what's going on. And nobody has really done that. They've tried. A lot of people have tried, but nobody has really successfully achieved that goal. And of course, it is my hope here today to achieve it with you all. So this is the key, all right? If you want Thank you very much, Alexander Bennett. Good to see you, brother. Perception is reality. Okay, this is I would take these words, I would even write them on the board, because this is the thing. Remember the phrase, if you think you can't and if you think you can't, you're right. It's the same thing. Perception is reality. If you believe that you will achieve your goal, you will achieve your goal. If you believe you are incapable of achieving this goal, you will not achieve your goal. Bottom line. So literally, the entire presentation can be summarized in those 3 words. And I start with it because it is the core concept of our existence. Okay. And even science is approaching understanding this. Now, this is not a new concept, right? I'm not pioneering anything new that you haven't seen before, like, ooh, voodoo magic, let's get out the doll and start poking into the voodoo doll. And no, it's not anything that hasn't been seen before. I'm simply restating it in more modern terms, kind of like the quote by Mr. Hayek here. It is growing exponentially. I mean, if you look at Hollywood, they are actually bought, paid, sold, and paid for again on this idea. And this is a lot where they generate a lot of their success, is they go into these situations. They're not afraid to dive in head first, see what happens, and a lot of them achieve success. Is it an enemy or is it your friend? Again, are you using your mind to its fullest potential? Like, for example, I remember in the movie The Secret and the book as well, they say if you constantly worry about like bills, oh my God, I'm getting more bills. I'm worried about bills. Why would we stop with the bills? Don't give me any more bills. What is the universe going to give back at you, is how they put it. I hate that phrase because it becomes so esoteric and just so monotonous and annoying. Just remember the simple truth. What you resist persists. Your perception, the fact that you are getting bills, is your reality. If you just reshape, reframe, as we like to say in neuro-linguistic programming, a class that I actually personally taught in here in Louisville for a few years. Neuro-linguistic programming tells us, just reframe it. These bills will soon stop coming because I'm going to get a better job and I'm going to be able to pay them all off. So I'm not going to have these recurring bills. Put this idea into your mind and the bills magically begin to evaporate, disappear. Because whatever you're focused on, that's what you continue to get more of. Manifest your destiny, not manifest destiny. Exactly. Thank you, Leslie Kohler. Oh, thank you for being on Madcore's live. We all love you, dude. Keep on keeping on. We're all here. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just doing a live on Madcore, but I want to focus on this right now. We'll talk about that at another time. So is it your enemy or is it your friend? Or are you thinking about your next goal, the better job, the better position, the better future? And a lot of people, by the way, in the chat, I'm already ready for it. I think I'm already seeing some comments like, man, you're just like saying the fucking obvious stuff, dude. Like, this shit is so obvious. I know. So why don't you do it? If it's so obvious, why being such a negative Nancy and actually trying it out? I know everything I'm saying. All of this is going to be common fucking sense. We are going to be talking a lot about philosophy and history, which I'm going to pepper in through here. But I am telling you, this stuff is really fucking simple. But why does nobody apply it? For the most part, nobody applies it. And that is the most bizarre thing. This is when I made this presentation. This is the reason I made it. Because I was talking to people and I'm like, you do realize you can change your life with just reframing one thing today. And people were like, I don't care. I don't care. So what is my goal? My goal today with this presentation is to provide synthesis and systemization of vague concepts. The importance of emotion and language with regard to goal setting. Emotion and language. We're going to come back to those. Those are central pieces in the perception as reality. All right. The pioneer. Let's talk about the American pioneer, Benjamin Franklin. He generated his own personal list of maxims. And you'll see like little citations here. There's actually a table of contents, which I will provide at the very, very end. So if you're wondering what what I'm referencing here, stay tuned. It will become known at the end if you want to do your own research. He achieved immense success in his own life. He's a great figure to idolize. But here's the problem. Benjamin Franklin lived like 250 years ago, and he understood the world better than most of us. And the problem is, seeing the world from his perspective is kind of difficult. Through his maxims and ideas, they may appear foreign and complex, or sometimes overly too simplistic. Again, like I said, it's not a new idea. It's an absolutely revisited concept, and I'm trying to explain it in the simplest way that I possibly can. Okay. In one of his letters to a friend entitled Advice to a Young Tradesman, Franklin concludes, in short, the way to wealth is, if you desire it, it is as plain as on the way to the market. It depends chiefly on two words, industry and frugality. That is, waste neither time nor money, but make the best use of both. He gets that all he can honestly and saves all he gets. Necessary expenses accepted, will certainly become rich. Let me say that again, because I think I kind of went sideways. He that gets all he can honestly and saves all he gets will certainly become rich. Now, let's take a step back, because there are other methodologies out there that exist currently on the subject. And I want to talk about why they are flawed and what their flaws are. The first one is The Secret. Now, The Secret is actually the method that has opened the door to all of this for me. The Secret was the original pioneer. I think I was like 21 or 22. I think I was still in college, because one of my goals was get into law school. I will never forget that on my original list of goals. I still, by the way, to this day, I keep a list of goals. If you don't have a list of goals, you're already doing it wrong. We will come to that. Always have a list of goals. And if I change one person's life, by the way, with this presentation, my goal is achieved. The benefits. They talk about the law of attraction, where whatever one visualizes in their mind, they will have in their hands, right? Now, here are the problems. It improperly involves religion. It's all about the deity and the universe and the power of basically God almost to come and kind of, influence your ability. Ask, believe, and receive. Visualize in the film. Matthew's 21:22, that's almost a direct quote. In all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. It's too much allegory to religion. It's too religious. That's why I didn't like it. It's too mystical. It's too abstract. Its practical application is very difficult. What are the rules? How do you do this? Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. I like it. Now, how do I apply it? They don't give you a practical guide, okay? That's their flaw. Example number 2, general goal setting. Just set a list of goals. Fucking go for it. Write them down. Before starting a business, set up a business model. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Fantastic. Again, it's like The Secret. It's too abstract, almost mystical. Nobody truly understands, how do I implement this into my own life? Nobody explains how to implement it. It lacks guidelines. Give me the rules. Give me what's step number 1, what's step number 2, what's step number 3, right? Example number 3, do it yourself. Try it, right? It provides concrete and precise steps on how to achieve a goal. There you go. That's the benefit. Step 1, buy widgets for like $1 each, right? Step 2, charge $2 to sell the widgets in order to make $1 profit, which is step 3. Here's the problem. There's no guarantee that they will succeed if they're applied. And they get a little too specific. They're too narrow. They're too narrowly tailored. They're not practical for a lot of purposes. You screw up one step and you're done. Buy widgets. What if I can't buy the widgets? I don't have the money. How do I do it now? Doesn't work. Now, one of the worst ones, by the way, is example number 4, learn from your own mistakes methodology. Well, keep doing it until like you find the ways that work and don't do the ways that don't work. The only problem is you may end up spending your entire life doing that. The benefit is you're like, oh shit, shouldn't do that. That doesn't work. But the problem is it may take 50 years for you to figure that out. Why do it now? Why not do it now? Why wait 50 years to figure it out? It wastes time, it wastes your reputation. Other people won't see you as a very intelligent individual. You know? It's not something that you really want to be known for, like somebody who tried figuring out how to get your shit together for for 40 years before you actually got it. I'm about to give you the tools, literally. I'm about to give you the tools. Now, the closest thing that came to my methodology is the SMART goals, SMART. Make a goal specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Now, that is the core of the method that I'm about to present to you. Now, the flaws are most people use the SMART goals to achieve like little goals, like incremental, which is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. It works, do it. If it works, then continue to do it. But it doesn't explain how to properly construct one's affirmations and the importance of language, which we will get to. It does not mention the interplay of emotions when setting goals. Those are the two things. Remember I told you language and emotion are going to be big key elements in this? Well, here it is. This is the beginning of that conversation. So I basically take the SMART methodology, add language, add emotion, add guidelines and steps. Boom. Ready? So as you all know, when there's a novel idea, when I'm about to present something to you, any mind, and I see the haters in the chat. Hello, haters. I love you. I love every single one of you. The more you hate me, the more I love you back, by the way. Did you know that? That's how it works on the DY guy chat. The more you hate me, the more I love you back. And the more you love me, the more I love you back too. There's no lose situation. There's like, it doesn't matter what you present. I'm just going to love you to the end of time. Stages of a novel idea, right? So if you're presented with a new idea, a brand new idea, which is literally what I'm about to do to you, first, your first reaction is always, almost universally, going to be immediate rejection. This is scientific, by the way. I forget who actually pioneered it. It may be cited, or I know I saw it in another book, and I may be citing the book that where I found it, but I don't remember. But the point is, the first time you see a brand new idea, the first reaction is, not interested. This is not for me. I don't want to do this. Blah 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 blah. Now the next is, I'm interested, but with reluctant acceptance. I have some interest. I can see how like somebody else can do it. I see how somebody else can use this information, but I don't know if this is quite for me. But I can see how they can do it. How my neighbor Tiffany can use this, you know. I can see that, but it's not for me. But thank you. The third stage of after being introduced to a new idea, you go, all right, you know what? Greater interest in personal tests. I can try it on a limited basis. Maybe I'll think about it this Tuesday. I'll sit down and maybe that schmuck Larry Foreman, what did he call himself? The DUI guy plus what? Does he have too many DUIs or something? Like, I don't fucking care. I don't know. Fine. I'll sit down and I'll write it out, and I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'll try it on a limited basis. Let's see what happens, right? I think I can try it out. Let's see how it works. And finally, the fourth stage of a novel idea, acceptance and incorporation into one's life. How the hell did I ever get along without it? Now, it took me a while for myself to get to that stage 4, probably about a year and a half maybe, to truly understand how I can incorporate it into my life. And ideas, they're like viruses, right? The best and the most addicting ideas are ones originating in your own mind, as they are the most sincere. So these ideas that I'm presenting to you, I'm about to be presenting to you right now, they're not your own. They're coming from me. I'm an outside source. Your instinct may say, I'm not to be trusted because I'm not you. I may be giving you something flawed, mistaken, incorrect, poorly researched, etc., etc., etc. The ideas that originate in your own mind are the ones most powerful. That's why they're like viruses, because they begin to multiply in your own mind. So once an idea is planted in one's mind, it will begin to grow and feed on other information. All right. So now we're tying it outside. Forget the previous topic. We're focusing on the actual generation of your own goals. You ready? Here we go. Same phrase. Once an idea is planted in one's mind, it will begin to grow and feed on other information to bolster itself. So, for example, if you tell yourself, and I use this example because, again, back then I was a student, and this was the simplest way of for me to think about these things and relate to my friends who were all my classmates, right? Or not classmates, but like schoolmates and so on. So, for example, if you say something like, I hate this professor, the more you repeat this idea, the more it's going to reinforce, and you're going to start looking for things as to why you hate this professor. They will sneeze or cough. You'll go, ugh, I hate when my professor sneezes. God, when they cough, it's so loud, it hurts my ears. When in reality, they didn't do anything. It's just you have the idea in your mind. I hate this professor. And the mind looks for ways, yeah, why do we hate them? Let's look for reinforcement. Let's show why the hate is there and how can we make it grow. All you have to do is reframe it. All you have to do is reframe it and say, I like this professor. And your idea will immediately begin to be reinforced. And by the way, love is always more powerful than hate, right? I'm not going to play this clip. This is actually a clip on YouTube. I don't want to get copyright struck, but Pease does a great, this is the watch link. I know it's probably quite difficult to see, but and I hope it's still live. Like I said, this was made 10 years ago. So Pease is an expert on body language. And he actually does a fantastic, talk with this one guy. And he actually gives the example of a woman who went to a doctor, okay? And she says, I'm in pain. Can you help me out? And they diagnose her and they say, wow, you have like bone cancer, which is like the worst kind of cancer you can possibly get. Like it doesn't even, like it metastasizes almost by default because it's like covers your entire body. And he goes, only like you're gonna die. You have 6 weeks to live, right? And she goes, well, I have 4 kids. I can't die. I don't have time to die, right? And she goes home and she lives, and she fights and she fights and she fights and she lives, and she lives for another 10, 20, 30 years. I don't remember exactly how long, but that's what she did. She did not accept the doctor's truth. The doctor's truth was, you have bone cancer at stage 4, it's metastasized, you're a dead woman in 6 weeks. She said, no, I'm not. She failed to accept his truth, and she lived. And Pease gives his own example. He says, doctors in his own example, I think he had testicular cancer or prostate cancer. And he says, 50% of people will die within 2 years, the doctor said. 25% of people will live to 4 or 5 years. And then like 2% of the people will live to be 89 and like get hit by a bus. And Alan asks him, the doctor's like, okay, so how do I get in that 2%? And the doctor couldn't answer him. The doctor goes, well, I can tell you how to get, to the 70%, the 50%, but I can't tell you how to get into that 2%. And this is, Alan is a very, very talented user of these types of methodologies, goal setting, and it is very, very powerful. It is extremely powerful. We really underestimate how powerful our brain is. Okay. So with all this in mind, let's begin with emotion. All right. Your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is quite unlimited. It does not have a limit. You know, they say we only use about 10% of our minds, of our brains or whatever. 90% of it is truly, most of it is the subconscious mind, our primate brain, our reptilian brain, all the ones that we don't really use on a daily basis. The conscious mind is the only thing that we really truly use. But everything we have ever seen, earned, read, heard, touched, felt is forever imprinted on our subconscious mind. Ergo, everything you put into your mind will remain there. And this is what ads are based on. Your brain is now familiar with the product, and it will select it subconsciously. You're like, ads don't affect me because I get to choose what I want. Well, you don't realize there's a lot of stuff working in the back here. And these mechanisms and these ads, why do you think ads are still running? Because they work. Because they work. You see a Colgate commercial, they say it takes about 5 times for the mind to begin to accept the idea that it's being presented with after it's presented to it 5 times. And I'm not saying it's a universal rule, but that's about psychologically what advertisers are taught, right? If they can show you this Corona, which by the way is misspelled Corona, I noticed that. I didn't do that intentionally. I honestly, I put it in there because I thought it was a Corona ad and somebody changed it. I don't know, whatever. The idea that you like Corona beer may be non-existent, but you see an ad a few times and you're like, hey, you know what? All right, maybe I'll try it out. That's exactly how emotion plays into your mind, into your selective thinking. So how do they work? Just like an idea, it takes time for the brain to get comfortable with the new product. And again, this is an example from law school. The Barbary reps, which is the bar exam preparation people in the Mosaic lobby. You know, they're not there once and then they disappear. They sit there like 2-3 days a week for weeks. So you come downstairs, you see them, you're like, all right, I'm not interested. Fuck you guys. I'll bar prep myself. I don't need you, you know? And then you walk away, and then the next day they're still there. And then the third day, by the 5th day, you're just like, all right, I'll go talk to them for a second, even though I think it's a waste of my time, but whatever. Let me talk to them real quick. And you talk to them, you're like, all right, thanks, bye. You go home and you sleep on it, and a couple more weeks go by, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll try it out. This is actually not a bad idea. They utilize these tactics because they know that they work. They are not intentionally, but they're breaking you down. They're breaking you down, especially if you have any interest at all. You will eventually cave to the idea because that is how the mind is designed to work. And they abuse that fact. The more a product is advertised and seen in stores, the more it will generally be liked, even if consumers do not develop any specific beliefs about the product. Simple repetition. Ads give you a command, and you only hear commands from leaders. So ads are working as these leader types. 2 examples follow. McDonald's. I'm loving it. You know, the first time I saw that ad, I remember I was like, nobody fucking loves McDonald's. Nobody. But how many times has McDonald's changed their campaign? When was the last time they changed their I'm loving it campaign? It's been going on for a while. Why? Because it works. I'm loving it. I'm not loving it. McDonald's is telling me I'm loving it. I'm not loving it. But you hear it enough times, you're like, you know, I'm loving it. I'll go, maybe I want some McDonald's today. I don't know. You know, it's your brain literally playing tricks on you because the ads are manipulating you in a certain way. Feel free to disagree as much as you want. It fucking works. Sprite, obey your thirst. Remember this campaign? I don't know if it's still running or not. I want to say that it is, but the reality is, again, it works. Thirsty, obey your thirst. I'm thirsty. Oh, anybody have a Sprite? Let's go get a Sprite. They link the word thirsty, to obey. It's a command. Obey your thirst. You're thirsty. Go get a Sprite. You know, it's I'm craving a Sprite right now. See, like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm thirsty. I realize I'm thirsty, and now I'm craving a Sprite because I know what it tastes like. It's sugary, it's sweet, it's bubbly, it's nice. You know, I could be craving as much as Coca-Cola. So what? You know, I like ads. Ads are fun. Ads are cool. Ads are stupid. Whatever. You like ads because they are formulated in the style of affirmations. Advertising slogans are telling you to act. They're playing on your emotions. No leader will ever ask a subordinate, hint, hint, Milton from The Office. No leader will ever ask their subordinate to do something. The employee is told to move his desk over to the basement and relinquish their stapler. I believe you have my stapler. You know, the famous phrase from The Office. If y'all haven't seen that, or Office, I keep saying The Office. Office Space, for God's sake. It's on the screen, you idiot. So the subconscious mind responds to direct commands and assertions, not to requests or wishes. Okay? This is where emotion and a little bit of language, which we'll get to in a second, play in to goal setting, right? We're tying it back now. Goal setting. This is the topic. How is this related? Emotion is powerful. And what gets you going? Commands, right? Okay. So escape negative emotion. The worst thing you can do, and this is how corporations keep our minds busy, is if you buy this product, you will be happy. This is the falsity in advertising. This is the fallacy of if-then. This is the biggest if-then fallacy in existence today. If only you get the Axe body spray, women will be all over you. If only you get this new gadget, you're going to have all the friends in the world. It doesn't work that way. People are driven for other reasons, not by the things that you have. Okay? But a lot of us, and I'm guilty of the same in the past, thinking, well, if only I had this, I will be happy. I will have what I want. I will get the girl. I will pass the class. I will this, I will that, you know. But it's not true. It's a fallacy. It's the ultimate fallacy. Falsity in advertising. Their goals are pointless to us, and they hinder us from concentrating on the important goals in our lives. This is where buyer's remorse comes from. Solution must come from within. We can be happy without purchasing these commodities, and here it is. You need to become your own personal walking advertisement generator. Nuke dropped. You need to become your own personal advertisement generator within your own mind. Switch to positive emotion. This is the key. And this goes all the way back to Aristotle. Aristotle knew that every living thing on this planet has a telos, or a goal. And for humans, it's eudaimonia. Aristotle said this, which is happiness. Every human, every living creature, every animal, hi Zinni, see, even Kitty is like, I want to be happy. Everybody seeks happiness. Everyone likes to feel pleasure. Nobody likes to feel pain. Everybody will avoid pain when confronted with it. and will choose pleasure over pain any day. Obviously, you have a reason to be happy outside of material longings if possible. I am happy because it's Thursday. Easier said than done, but we'll get to that. Smile and laugh as much as possible because smiles are addicting. They produce endorphins. Laughter is addicting, also produces endorphins and dopamine. So if this is what we seek, right? The modern concept of eudaimonia is the self-actualization. If you all haven't heard of Abraham Maslow, please read up on him. He's a phenomenal psychologist. He basically talked about the hierarchy of needs. There's some needs that we absolutely positively need without which we cannot exist, right? Which is like the physiological needs. If you're cold constantly because you live in a cave, because you can't afford a house, for example, you're going to have a very difficult time being able to focus on anything else. You're just going to be focused on being cold or hungry, right? Cold, hunger, I don't know, constipation, anything physiological that affects your body physically, personally, you're going to have to address first. Have you ever tried, I don't know, here's a bad example. Have you ever tried having sex while you really, really need to go to the bathroom? Not a good idea because you can't focus on the enjoyment of procreation, which is very high on the physiological needs hierarchy, whereas going to the bathroom is very, very low, and it's an immediate need. It's not a need that you can easily ignore, right? You can't be like, I'll go to the bathroom tomorrow. Right? It doesn't work that way. I got to go to the bathroom now. Stop the car. I got to go. Okay, let's go to that gas station. I got to go. Right? Safety needs. So once you can address all the physiological needs, next are safety needs. Am I safe? Am I going to be attacked by an animal? Am I going to get robbed or killed by a stranger? So safety is next. Belonging. Now, once you are safe and your physiological needs are met, you're not hungry, you're not cold, you're not freezing, you're not dying, you are safe. You're not going to be killed. You have a safe haven to live in, etc. The sense of belonging, a sense of community, like socialization, right? Socializing, talking to people, getting to know your neighbors, making friends. Like these are the things that begin to become important. Next, you have the esteem needs. Now you're just, you're focused on your own career. You have all these other things going on. And finally, self-actualization. This is the I am happy with who I am, how I am. I don't need anything to supplement in order to become somebody else or a better version of myself. It is the best version of who I could possibly be, right? In a nutshell, true happiness comes from within, not from other sources. Now I want to do a little exercise with you all. Okay? This is called the lemon exercise. If you're watching this on your phone or on your TV and you are not driving, or if you have too many distractions, you may have to do this at a later time. But if you're sitting down or laying down or standing up, whatever you may be doing right now, if you can stop what you're doing, if you can, of course, like I said, if you're driving, please don't do this. Do this later. Go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you all to imagine in front of you a big, like maybe one of the biggest you've ever seen at the supermarket. Big lemon. Juicy, ripe, yellow lemon. Can you see it? Do you see the lemon in front of you? It's been a while since you've seen a lemon this big. this juicy, this ripe. Okay. Now I want you to grab a knife and I want you to slowly start cutting that lemon in half, right? Do you see the juices just leaking out of it? That lemon juice just leaking out of that lemon, pouring out of it. You can smell the lemon as you're slowly cutting it, right? And now you have two halves of this lemon in front of you. Now I want you all to grab one half of this lemon and shove it in your mouth. And squeeze. You all taste the bitterness? I know I did. Do you all taste the bitterness of the lemon? The sourness and the bitterness. It's almost like it was right there. Wasn't it? And that is why the mind, as you all can see, the mind cannot differentiate between what is in here and what is actually in front of you. The mind can't tell the difference between the lemon that you envisioned and actually having a lemon shoved in your mouth. If you actually went along with the exercise. I know, obviously, if you resisted, you may say that it didn't work, but if you actually do it, and if you actually believe in it, you will have a physiological reaction to something that only exists in your mind. And that, see, who is now drooling? Look at that. L. Bowman did it right. Alex P. is salivating. So that's exactly what it is, right? The mind can't tell the difference. So now let's talk about language. Setting goals. And we didn't watch the video, like I said, but I'm going to go through his rules here. The 3 steps to setting any goal, which is taken directly from the video that I did not play because I didn't want to get copyright struck. Make a step 1. Okay, remember I told you this is a practical guide. This is not a philosophical discussion of what may possibly come if I just think really, 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 really hard and maybe I will have it. No, this is how you can start taking this stuff, implementing into your own life. If you so choose, you don't have to. You're under no obligation. Obviously, you came to this video because you're interested. So please, this is it right here. You ready? Boom. Step 1, make a clearly defined goal about what you want. I want to have 1 million alpacas when I grow up. That's a clearly defined fucking goal. 1 million alpacas. It's very defined. You know what it is. It's alpacas. How many? 1 million. When I grow up, let's give it a number. When I turn 22, I will have 1 million alpacas. 5 years. Boom. Get a written plan of action, says Alan. Don't forget about how on earth am I going to get 1 million alpacas? That is a lot of fucking alpacas. You do realize how much land I need to have? 1 million alpacas will definitely not fit on, my 5 acres in my backyard. Each alpaca probably needs at least like a quarter acre for her own personal self. So you're talking about 250,000 acres, Mr. Foreman. That is a lot of fucking acres. I don't have that kind of money. Doesn't matter. If that's your goal, then by God, fucking go for it. Because you will get it if you truly want to, if you truly try. That's the secret. That's the sauce. You feel? You dig? All right, back to it. Forget the how. Just decide what it is. 1 million alpacas, then that's what it is. 1 million alpacas. But make it realistic. Follow through on your goal despite what others say, think, or do. There will be a lot of naysayers out there. What are you talking about, Sonny? You want 1 million alpacas? I think I can see you having 2 alpacas, maybe. You can have a couple of alpacas in that backyard, Sonny. You ain't getting 1 million alpacas. People will judge you. People will they will try to dissuade you. They'll try to bring you back to reality, right? Fuck them. Don't even let them in on your secrets, on your plans, on your goals. Keep them in here. You want 1 million alpacas? You know what? I fucking support you. Go get those million alpacas. Why? Because you fucking deserve them. Because you want them. Not your neighbor Joe. Not your sister Susie. Not your mom Betty. Set your sights. There's no such thing as extreme or too extreme. No objective is out of reach. And repeat, repeat, repeat. Because writing a goal down and putting it away in your drawer and never looking at it, there's no point. You just wasted it. It needs to be top of mind. Like, I have a Google Keep where I keep all my goals. And I'm not going to share them with you. I'm sorry. There's only like one person on this planet that knows what my goals are, and that's me. There is no second person. Why? Because my goals are fucking insane. They're crazy. You'll probably think they're stupid, and I want you to, because they're not your goals, they're my goals. I don't care how stupid you think they are. All I care about is that they're my goals and I'm going to achieve them. And a lot of those goals have been crossed off already. Goals I never even thought were possible or imaginable. I'm living proof. Now, back then I wasn't. When I was doing this, it was just in here. It was an idea. It's actually kind of interesting that I came across this presentation because it truly has been, it has, a lot of this stuff manifested itself. A lot of it still hasn't. But I am telling you, if you try, if you don't try, you will never know. But if you try, give it time. Be realistic about it. You know, don't be like, I want to make $1 million by tomorrow. I mean, sure, for some people it may be possible. But if you're working a 9-to-5 job and you're making, let's say, you know, $18 an hour, you're probably not going to make $1 million by tomorrow. Well, like, I want to get married and have 3 kids, and you are single right now and don't have any children. You know, setting that goal 5 years out may be realistic. You can achieve all of that in 5 years. But let's talk about how you phrase it, right? So the mind responds better to positive emotion, as we already discussed. It responds best to direct commands. Now, we're tying it back together again. It needs repetition to instill the idea, and it will continue to feed on this idea until it maximizes its potential and efficiency. And once you set a goal, your subconscious mind begins to think that it is something that you have already acquired in the present, like the lemon exercise. It's in neuro-linguistic programming, there's an exercise called future pacing. If you're not familiar with it, by the way, I highly encourage you to look this up. Future pacing is something like you envision yourself sitting on a beach, sipping a margarita, in 6 months from now. 6 months from now, you're just sitting on a beach, sipping a margarita in the Bahamas, enjoying your day. That's called future pacing. That's something that hasn't happened yet. That is 6 months in the future. But now your mind will pretend like it's real, even though you've never been to the Bahamas. You don't even drink margaritas. But this is what you want. If this is what you want, you will have it. Your mind will begin to find ways to get you there. All of a sudden, you'll be sitting with your family one day and, I don't know, Uncle Joe will bring up, oh yeah, I just got back from the Bahamas. And you'll be like, oh my God, I was just thinking about going there at some point. Like, oh yeah, well, listen, I can get you a deal. I worked with a travel agent. She got me like an amazing half price. Like, oh my God, I had no idea. All of a sudden, your mind is looking for these things. That's what it is. This is why goals are so powerful, because they set your sights on something that you want. And by virtue of repeating it, you begin to seek out subconsciously ways to manifest the goal. Okay? So goals are masked commands. This is the conclusion. Goals are masked commands to your subconscious mind. Let's talk more about language. The importance of language. Language is powerful. Every word is meaningful, so use each of them wisely to carefully construct your affirmations. For example, like versus love, earn versus make, etc. We'll get to those. Ideas are based on feeling, remember? And they are addicting, just like feelings. And the mind will begin to actively seek to reaffirm your thoughts, statements, and affirmations. Remember the I hate my professor example? Changing your thought in a positive direction will change the entire reality, of your feelings towards something. Remember, perception is reality. I love sitting in class, even though you don't right now. I love going to my work every day, even though you don't. But if you begin to repeat this idea, even though it's false, initially it will be false, but eventually, if this is something you want, again, I'm not trying to force you to do something you don't like to do, because the mind will continue to seek happiness and pleasure. And if work does not give you pleasure, hopefully eventually you can quit it. Otherwise, you're just destroying yourself and wasting your time. But if you want to change and reframe your mindset, like, well, why do I hate my job? Well, I don't like my coworkers. Well, is there any way I can get along with them? I like my coworkers. Could be a mantra, right? And suddenly you'll find ways to like, well, actually, I like, the same movies that this fucking bitch that I hate that I see every day, and you start talking about movies and all of a sudden you're like best friends out of nowhere, only because you reframed your mindset. You see how powerful it is? It's incredible. Your mind is a magnet, and each thought will attract words and phrases that will feed it and reaffirm the ideas that it holds. It's the same holds true for goal setting. Okay, so let's talk about some bad goals. Here are some examples of bad goals. I am a good student. That is a present falsity, right? What does that mean? I may be, I may not be. What does that even mean? Am I an A student? Am I a good student who doesn't show up for class? I am. What does that mean? It's a present falsity. I am attractive. It's a general maxim. What is the definition of attractiveness? Who are you attractive to? Who are you attractive for? It's a maxim and it's too general. I will not get any more hospital bills. It's a negative present affirmation. You're talking about in the negative. I will not. Avoid, 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 avoid. I will make $1 million. It's a future affirmation, but it's too vague. When? It has no time limit. It's too broad. Are you going to make it before you die, which is 70 years from now? Are you going to make it by next year? It's too broad. Now, here are some good examples of good goals and maxims. And these are some of my old ones, by the way. I totally forgot that I included those in here. So you get a glimpse of what I have ones that are way, way, way better than these since I first created them. But this was part of my goals list in 2012. No joke. This is it right here. There is always enough time to get done everything that needs to get done. Now, the reason that is at the top, all bold, caps, and underlined, is because I always had trouble, and I talked to my dad about this. I remember I was like, Dad, there's not enough time in the day. Like, I have so much to do, and I'm not getting it done, and it's frustrating, and it's annoying, and it's upsetting, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, look, he actually introduced me to this idea, and I transformed it into a goal. He said, there's always enough time in the day, son. It just depends on where you choose to allocate your time to. I was allocating my time to bullshit. And then when the real stuff came, I was like, I don't have any time. Well, you do have time. You're misplacing your time. So by simply reframing my idea of time, that there's always enough time to get done everything that needs to get done, I began to implement and began to personally see time as a lot more flexible than it was before. I'll never forget it. It was a gradual change. It does not happen overnight, but it's all about having the goal, writing it down, repeating it, and eventually it becomes reality. Remember, perception is reality. I will present my idea to the law school on September 20th, 2012. Continue making PowerPoint presentation. That was originally one of my goals because I was going to do that, even though I had 0 attendees, as I said. I have passed the bar exam on July 30th and 31st, 2013. Now, that one is very, very powerful. Very powerful. Now, today, I would actually say it could probably be better phrased. There's probably some work to be done on it, but you know what? Even today, even here we are 10 years later, I still think it works. Why? You might say, well, you're fooling yourself. You're talking about a future, it's future pacing, right? In neurolinguistic programming, it's future pacing. You're telling yourself that in 9 months from today's date, which right now we're sitting in October 2012, as I was giving this presentation, I have passed the bar exam on July 30th and 31st, 2013. Here's why it works. It is you're future pacing your brain to prepare and find a way to make this real. What needs to be done in order for that to become reality? I don't know how. It doesn't matter how. The hows will begin to appear. Focus on the what. What is it that you want? I want to pass the bar exam. Don't say, I will pass, because that is vague to the mind. I have successfully passed on this date, because that's when the bar exam was in 2013. It's a 2-day exam, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon for 2 consecutive days. It's a 12-hour test in Kentucky. I think they changed it slightly. I don't remember. But at the time, this was true. I am the happiest man in the world. I was going through depression when I was younger. I didn't have the easiest life. I wanted to be happier. I lied, right? It's a goal. Lied to myself. I am the happiest man in the world. You say it enough times, it will eventually begin to become reality. I'm an excellent public speaker. I can speak effectively in front of larger groups. Look at that. This is phenomenal. That this is one of my goals, as a matter of fact. If you go back to my YouTube videos in 2018, 2019, whenever I started live streaming, I think it was 19 in February. It's been almost 4 years since I've started. I used to suck at it. I used to be okay as a public speaker. You know, I used to do trials back when I first started. It's look how far I've come. Yeah, that was a goal. That was a goal of mine. I totally forgot about that one. And can speak effectively in front of large groups. I do this every week, every few weeks nowadays. There you go. There's one, literally. I passed the bar exam. That also happened. Happiest man, I don't know if that's true or not. Present the idea. You know, there's always enough time. These are old goals. A lot of them are no longer on my list, obviously. I don't care about the bar exam. Happiness is now self-generated for me. I don't need to worry about that. Being an excellent public speaker and speak effectively, it's always going to be a work in progress. That one will never, ever end, even though it's not on my goals list anymore. But it's all about reprogramming. It's about reprogramming your mind. Exactly. Because the mind is malleable. It's all about the concept of neuroplasticity. Free Rackets, thanks for stepping up for his back. Oh, Nick has my love all day, every day. You know this. Nick, I reached out to Nick asking if he needs some help, and he said that he was good. But I'm always there for that motherfucker. He's my ride or die. So in summary, set goals, get them on paper, and follow through despite what others say, think, or do. Best, don't share your goals with anyone. Don't. Why? Because you're going to get haters. You're going to get naysayers. Even the people who love you the most are actually potentially your worst enemy. You want to do what, Sally? 1 million who now? What the fuck is an alpaca? An animal? Like a farm animal? Are you crazy? That's not real. That's not realistic. Come on, Sally. Don't be like that. Don't be real. You need to go to medical school, become a doctor, forget about this alpaca farm idea. They can become your worst enemy. Best not to share it with anyone, and especially with your loved ones. Make it a private thing. Unless it involves them, then maybe it's a good idea to share. Like if you want, and it also depends, like let's say like I want to get married to this person, for example, is one of your goals. Well, let's say you're not that close yet. You've only known each other for a couple of weeks. Probably not a good idea to share with them that, I want to end up being married to you in a couple of months or years or whatever. Or maybe it is. Probably not. Probably not. But that's one example. Set the goals and affirmations in a positive tonality. Don't do the negatives, the not. If there's a not on your goal list, you're doing that one wrong. Okay? I do not want to get any more hospital bills. Reframe it. All hospital bills will be paid as of January 1st, 2023. But I don't have enough money. How am I going to generate the money? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You may get a donation. You may get a benefactor. Maybe Uncle Jim will pass and you'll get a random inheritance that you never expected. Because Jim was supposed to live to be 90 and he was 45. Dropped dead of a heart attack. Holy shit. Who would have expected? You didn't kill Jim. Don't worry, okay? You didn't kill Uncle Jim. But the fact is that things will begin to happen for you in your direction, following your trail. Now, have a specific time frame, if it's applicable. I will achieve this goal by July 31st, 2023. Why? Because it gives your mind a time limit. It's not, okay, I'll get it done eventually. We'll get there. It's worthless. You need a time frame. When is it going to get done? By which date? Try it out, okay? Prove me wrong, please. I'm asking you. If you want to try this out, but you're like, you know what? I have my doubts. I want that. You need that. You should have doubts. It's not an easy thing to truly begin to implement. Try it on the little things, then go bigger and bigger and bigger. You will see once it works on the little things, you'll be even more convinced that this is real. That's exactly what I did, by the way. I tried it on the little things, like I say it in quotes, little things like getting accepted into law school, starting my own business, passing the bar exam. Like at the time, those were like big things for me. But at the end, grand scheme of things, they were kind of little in the sense of they are just like steps towards a much bigger goal, right? Vision boards, by the way, are fantastic ways of achieving things that are tangible, right? Because like, for example, some things are not tangible. I want to grow closer with my children. It's kind of hard to put on a cardboard paper, right? I guess you could put a photo of you hugging your kids. That would be kind of like that, right? But I want a jet plane. And just take a photo of a jet plane, slap it on the vision board, have it in front of your eyes. So try it on little things, then go bigger. Now, the goals, again, must be sincere and come from within. If they are fake, or if they're someone else's goals, if you will, it's never going to work. You want them to be honest, sincere, and come from within. That way, they are most easily achievable. Why? Because they're yours. Because they belong to you. Don't use affirmations to get things from others. Now, this is important. It's not a guide on how to, like, I don't know, steal or be mean. Don't have, other than not having negative goals, don't have like sadistic goals. Like, my neighbor will fall off the balcony, or my neighbor's cat will die. That's just fucking evil, and karma will punish you. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not how affirmations are supposed to be. Summed it up. Summed it up, Rita. Thank you. Repeat them daily, several times a day if possible. So sometimes, if you live alone, you can like print them on a piece of paper, put them on the fridge, or hanging them up on your wall. It's a bit extreme. Obviously, somebody, you bring a date, they'll be like, "What's that?" Oh shit, maybe you don't want that, especially if it's like, "I want to have 3 kids," and you bring in like a random date from the bar, like, "Wait, what's this? I want 3 kids." Like, ignore that. He's like, "Hey, look at the time. I gotta go." So, yeah, probably not a good idea. Make sure that the goal is proportional to the time frame you set it for. You can wish for whatever the fuck you want to wish for. This is what it is. Goals are wishes, right? We make wishes on our birthday once a year. Why can't we make that same wish 7 times a day, every single day? That's really the question you got to ask. Why do you have to wait for your birthday to make that wish? Why can't you make that wish 2,500 times every year, several times every day? That's the question. So make sure the goal is proportional to the time frame you set it for. So if you're setting a goal like, I want to have 3 children, for example, don't say, I'm going to have 3 kids by next week. Unless you're adopting, and maybe that's realistic. But if you want natural birth from the same person, okay, we're going to add some caveats there. That might take a while, 9 months, 9 months, 9 months, plus a few breaks in there. That may take at least 3 years at the bare minimum. I mean, you don't want to work your own body or your spouse's body to death, right? So, most importantly, have fun with it. Have fun with it. That's what it's all about. It's what life's all about. It's all about having fun. Have a fun set of goals written up. Ones that you want to achieve personally. It's going to be good. Here are the references that I mentioned during the citations, that I referenced during the writing. So feel free to check those out if you're interested. Yeah, that's the YouTube video right over here, if you want to check it out. Those are the dates when I was accessing all this stuff, by the way. So some of it is print. Most of it is internet. So I don't even know if these links are still alive. But if they are, then hopefully you'll be able to get a chance to take a look at them. I hope you all enjoyed this. I created this thing over 10 years ago. It's kind of hard to believe that I created this over a decade ago. And here we are. And here I am, finally presenting it to an audience of more than 3 people. Thank you, Alexander. I wish I'll have other presentation like this one from you in the future. Maybe, maybe. I mean, this is the only one I ever made on that topic, so you can't even see those links. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll probably add them to the description. I'll add them to the description so you guys can actually see them. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick. Hold on while we're here. I know you guys want a reading of Curious George. I saw. I know. I have to do them individually. Do I? Can I just not? Here we go. Oh, I can. Okay. Here we go. So yeah, they're gonna be in the description below. If you want the brackets are not allowed. Oh, that's bullshit. My whole thing is brackets. Probably because it's written in code and it messes up the code. I know you guys want a Curious George reading. I'm going to do that eventually. I don't know when. As you all know, I've been very busy with work stuff, and I just had to come back to this. I did a stream with Madcore Mofo. Feel free to check that out. Madcore Mofo and I, and Divinity was in there, and so was Sean, which is potentially criminal, and a new guy. I forget his name momentarily, but it'll come to me. Starts with a G. But anyway, that was a fun time. That was definitely a fun time, and I really appreciate you all joining me. And yeah, again, people forget YouTube is my side hustle. YouTube is my hobby. YouTube is my fun time. I don't work on YouTube for a living. A lot of streamers do, like Nick, Emily D. Baker. I know Emily, I don't think has a practice anymore. I know Nick does, but I don't know if he practices much anymore. I know he streams a lot, but for the most part, yeah, this is, I post stuff because you guys enjoy content. So I love every single one of you. Don't ever forget that. So thank you all for joining me on this impromptu stream. I know I've been gone for a while. It's been almost a month since I did like a stream like this. We did one 3 weeks ago. That was a bit of an oddball stream. I had a few guests on. We talked about treasure. That was a bit fun, the multi-million-dollar treasure hunt gone wrong. But yeah, back to work. Hopefully I'll have some more courtroom content for you all here pretty soon. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And I cannot wait to see you all again very, very soon. So have a wonderful night. Take care of each other. Hugs and kisses to all of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.